across the world and meet many prominent leaders, but many of those leaders came to Pakistan and interacted with him too. Such top-level interactions have allowed him to develop a sense of the geostrategic realities of the world in various conflict regions, which I'm sure he'll be drawing on to address us today. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, from my side, let me invite you to join me in welcoming one of our most distinguished speakers, President Pervez Musharraf, addressing us on the state of the country.
It is indeed a great privilege and a special pleasure to be interacting with such an august gathering at the Oxford University. It's my pleasure also because I know that my brother studied here and he was a Rhodes Scholar and he studied at Christ Church. Therefore, it's indeed a privilege to be coming here and to be speaking to all of you. The subject that I will speak to you, based on the broad guidelines that I received from here, I thought I'll speak on Pakistan, South Asia, and the world. I do intend speaking for 30 to 40 minutes, and I have not timed myself. And then I would like to get involved in a very lively Q&A. I would like to get frank questions from you, if you are prepared to receive equally frank answers from my side. What I intend doing without much ado, let me get to the subject straight. I intend having a world perspective, an overview of world events after the Second World War in the past 6 decades, 60 years, 6 decades from 50s onwards. And I want to fit in some critical events that took place in the world during these 6 decades. And these were the events which affected or they shaped the world and affected events in our part of the world, that is South Asia and Pakistan. We all know that in the last 60 years, the world saw a great transformation, regular transformation, which I am going to cover very briefly, ending up in total chaos and confusion on militancy, turmoil in the world. Okay. Who can't hear me? Who didn't hear me? Is that clapping for me or him? Thank you very much for giving the mic. Yeah, I think I can hear myself better. I think you can hear me better also. I would state, I think I would like to divide this period of 60 years into 4 broad periods. The first period is the end of Second World War to 1979. The 3 decades of 50s, 60s and 70s, the 3 decades of the Cold War. In this, as you all must be knowing, it was a bipolar world that we saw. The world was divided into 2 opposing groups. The West, led by the United States, and the East, led by the Soviet Union. In this East and West conflict, or the bipolar world, we saw conflict around mostly because of the opposing poles of these 2 opposing groups. And therefore we saw a number of proxy wars because of the contest between the East and the West. The focus at that time, ladies and gentlemen, what I would like to highlight was the geostrategic focus was Eurocentric. In that there was a Cold War going on, East-West conflict, Warsaw Pact versus NATO, Berlin Wall, reunification of Germany. Therefore, the geostrategic focus was Eurocentric. At this time, in 1947, Pakistan became independent, and unfortunately, we fought the first war with India in 1948 on the issue of Kashmir. Right after 1948, we felt, Pakistan felt, an existential security threat to its own existence. Therefore, we adopted a military strategy of developing a military which was based on a military strategy of minimum defensive deterrence. We quantified this minimum defensive deterrence into force levels for Army, Navy, Air Force, and that is the route that we took. But then this existed till 1974, when India tested its first nuclear device, and Pakistan thought that this strategy of minimum defensive deterrence stands compromised in the unconventional field. Therefore, Pakistan decided to re-establish this strategy of deterrence through going unconventional also. In other words, a decision was taken by the leadership in the 70s to go nuclear. This, ladies and gentlemen, was the broad events of the first 30 years of Cold War and a bipolar world. The next period I want to take is the period of 1979 and 89, the 10 years. And I call this the decline of the Soviet Union. It started with the invasion of Afghanistan by the Soviet Union and a response from the United States and the West to contain this invasion, to contain this expansion. Pakistan joined the United States, and because of its geographic location, we were in the lead role. Why did Pakistan join? What was the compulsion? What was the interest of Pakistan? Pakistan's interest was not just to follow what the United States were doing. Pakistan's interest was its own security. For the first time, Pakistan faced a two-front threat. In that Soviet Union and Afghanistan, with ambitions of reaching out to the warm waters of the Indian Ocean, through Pakistan, Pakistan had a security threat. And therefore, in its own interest, it joined the forces, United States forces, to evict Soviet Union and assist Afghans in doing that. What was the American interest? What was the US and West's interest? It was their old strategy of containment of the Soviet Union, and therefore they wanted to contain the expansion of Soviet Union further to the south. So therefore there was a coincidence of interest of Pakistan and United States, and therefore we joined hands to go into Afghanistan to help the Afghans defeat the Soviets. Together we launched a jihad, ladies and gentlemen. When I say we, I mean Pakistan and the United States and the West. We called it a jihad. We called it a jihad because we wanted to attract mujahideen from all over the Muslim world. And let me tell you that 25 to 30,000 mujahideen from Morocco to Indonesia, from most of the Muslim countries, came into Afghanistan. We armed them and knocked them into Afghanistan. When I say we, again I would like to reiterate the United States and Pakistan and the lead role. Then we also trained Taliban and armed them and sent them into Afghanistan to fight the Soviets. So in effect, ladies and gentlemen, this was the compulsion of launching a jihad with Mujahideen and with Taliban to defeat the Soviet Union. Three important events took place during this period of 10 years, which must be understood by all. Number one, that in 1979, in fact, a year or two years before 1979, the king of Afghanistan was deposed with the machinations of the Soviet Union. And when the king of Afghanistan was deposed, the glue that held Afghanistan together, the glue that held the four ethnic groups of Afghanistan, which means Pakhtun being 50%, Tajiks being about 20%, Uzbeks and Hazaras being about 8% each, were held together under an arrangement. For centuries they were under an arrangement called Misaq-e-Milli. It translates into a national covenant, a national agreement. we will stay together, accepting the sovereignty of the king.